What's up, everybody? Welcome to the American Dream Podcast. My name is Stephen Aiken. If this is the first time you've heard of the podcast, it's on video. I have a bunch of episodes already on iTunes, Google, and Spotify, etc. Of the podcast. This is our first time trying to do a video version, so hopefully this is something that's cool and works out well. Decided that I would just try to do a recap of the tournament we held here yesterday and a little bit of what it took to make it happen, and just share my thoughts on what that tournament was and what it meant to me, and I guess now as it's over, what we're going to look to in the future for ourselves and possibly for that tournament as a whole. Really, we had two brackets, a 170-pound bracket and a 200-pound bracket. 8-man each bracket. It was a $100 buy-in. Winner was going to take all the money for each bracket, so that's $800 to the winner. That was all I was going to do in the beginning. I didn't have a plan to really add much else. I didn't know that it was going to be a very big deal. I didn't know who was going to sign up. Obviously, I hope that some good people were going to sign up, and I really hope that some tough people were going to sign up and get in the mix, because the idea just kind of came to me after we had Boogie over here for his seminar and kind of setting up our kind of grand opening. And I was just thinking of ways to get some hype going, and for the team and for myself. And I remember those in-house tournaments out there in San Diego. And when the Ultimate Mat Warriors was first starting, it was kind of starting in the gym, and lots of other guys like Brown has an awesome tournament, the Olympus Invitational down in Jacksonville that he runs out of his gym. The guys up in Bethlehem with the finishers tournaments. I was like, why can't I just make a little smaller version of this for myself and get some of the people here in Middle Georgia or the surrounding area that can drive in or whatever some reps with this style of training and this style of competition. It's a different thing if you've never done it, and it's hype, man. It's hardcore. It's not just playing around, and I wanted my guys to be able to see that. I wanted my team to be able to see and feel what it was like to have people that were competing with all they had, trying to get the win, trying to pay their rent, honestly, trying to make enough money to pay for the bills they have and how they're gonna supply food. So it was awesome. Every event that you have with athletes involved, especially Jiu Jitsu events or MMA, people fall out. They sign up, they fall out. People put up money a lot of times and they sign up and fall out. And with these type of tournaments, somebody has to put up the buy-in typically to get the spot. So when people fall out, replacements aren't as hard to find often because they don't have to pay for the spot to get in to compete. Well, we had some stuff, and one of our 170s dropped. He was sick, and we didn't want to risk, obviously, with the way the world is, anything happening, so we decided we would move him out. We found a replacement. I assume this person was already on weight under 170, somewhere close to about the same day. Another one of the 170s contacted me and was also just in a position that they weren't going to be able to comfortably be there, healthy, and make weight. So that was two 170s down. So I scrambled to try to find some people to replace and to put into the mix. We did that. I think what happened is Micah Miller, Micah Miller decided to jump down to 170, but this was only after the first guy that I found that had that to be the replacement contacted me and said that, I'm not going to be able to make the weight. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Also, the other guy fell out again. So this is 3 total dropouts in the 170 bracket already. Micah Miller was going to do the 200-pound bracket. He agreed, and and figured, I'm already about 173 or 4, I think. So I'll just, drop the couple pounds and go down to the 170 bracket to help fill some of those spaces because it was obviously getting tough. And then we found Caleb Kenyon to jump in last second to replace someone. Caleb's a blue belt from down in Bainbridge, Georgia. Man, heart by the ton. Much respect to him for jumping in last minute and showing up to compete. Michael went down to 170, so then that left a hole in the 200-pound bracket for someone to step in. And Tim Rhodes, a purple belt from Miller Martial Arts, who's a good friend of mine and tough role, he jumped into that spot that Micah left. So here we are. We got a full bracket again, and everybody's looking good. We've had some mix-ups. Things looking good, and then like the night before, as I was getting ready to go to bed, check my messages really quickly, and I have a message from Elijah Carlton who says that he won't be able to be there. So I call him. He's not going to be able to make it for whatever reason, and I'm not going to come on here and rip anybody or whatever. People have their own reasons for choosing what they do and doing what they do. So whatever, more power to him. He made the choice that he made to not be here, and we had to scramble to fill another 200-pound spot literally like overnight again. We were able to only fill that spot because Brian Brown has a group of like savages down in Jacksonville that go hard, and Manning Leverett just happened to ride up here with him. He brought some shorts and a mouthpiece. He weighed in at 168 pounds, and he filled that 200-pound spot like a real G. So respect to him, respect to that team for coming out and throwing down and filling out most of the tournament. Honestly, there were 2 guys in each bracket from Jacksonville once we did that. So, man, respect to those guys for showing up and doing the thing. And then that kind of was the promotion side of it for me, or matchmaking, And then that's one thing, right? Just trying to get matches going and making matches and filling slots in a tournament. That, it is what it is. But as a dude that's competed and a former competitor or still competitor, however you want to think of it, and a coach now, like, just showing up and competing in a tournament like this is where it's at, right? I think there were wins and losses in this tournament that may have surprised people. Some surprised me. I think some people may have skipped us because it was too tough, or they thought they may not have been able to do well for whatever reason, in which case maybe they created a monster they didn't need to because they didn't even have to face that person or whatever. And that stuff happens all the time, and tournaments are the way it is. That's why you play the game. That's why you compete. That's why you roll. It's to see who's going to win, and just because you beat me before doesn't mean you're going to beat me again. So just coming out here, rolling, seeing what's up, competing hard. It is what it is, right? So respect to everybody that shows up and that competes without, worry of whatever it looks like if you end up not winning and stuff like that. That's the nature of the beast. Typically in a Jiu Jitsu match, one person wins and one person loses. So like the odds are 50%, good guys win a lot more, but it just is what it is, right? One guy loses every time, even at a high level. So show up, compete, that's it, respect. And legitimate reasons for not coming and stuff like that are always understood and validated, and there's a lot of different kind of legitimate reasons that don't just mean injured. So, whatever, moving on. We had a great tournament, dude. Everybody was coming out hunting. 2 8-man brackets is not a very long day. We were in and out in like under 2 hours from once we started. We had everybody come in, start weighing in about 11 o'clock. Nobody was overweight. Everybody was right on pretty much. Some people were way under, so it wasn't an issue with that. One of the crazy stories of the whole tournament is Zach Edwards coming in from Austin, Texas, literally by car overnight with Jacob Norton. They got in the building at like 12 something, and Zach weighed in, plenty of space, underweight, and was it. He was ready to compete in maybe 45 minutes. You know, he had to go, and he'd been in the car for 14 hours overnight from Austin to Perry, Georgia. So, dude, respect. Like, that's it. Dude, that's how legends are made right there, man. That dude got all the respect and love for me in the world this weekend for what he did and showing up and competing the way he did and as hard as he did. First match of the day, we had Micah Miller versus Andy Villa from 10th Planet Jacksonville. Micah Miller's out of American Top Team. His brother Cole Miller has the other gym locally, and Warner Robins and Bonaire. We're all good friends and stuff like that. So it was a cool deal to have Micah in there, who's been a high-level MMA fighter and is a really good high-level black belt. Andy is a purple belt under Brian Brown from 10th Planet Jacksonville. Again, like I said, he's growing killers down there, and all ranks. Those guys are going hard, and all sizes. Those guys are coming out tough. Micah was just too much for Andy as far as being able to be fundamentally too sound in these positions. Andy attacked both sides with his guard as best he could. He threw up a couple of decent looks, but wasn't able to really establish much of anything. Micah was not able to submit Andy or mount any real deadly offense to get it going, but he did control pretty much the entirety of where the match was going and stuff, minus Andy's attacks that he defended without too much trouble. So first match of the day, 10 minutes, we go to overtime, and I was like, man, is this a sign of the way the rest of the day is going to be? You know, we're going to have a bunch of 10-minute rounds, and we're going to be here for a while doing this, and I got to call all these overtimes because I was reffing every match pretty much. I was going to do that because I wanted, if anything happened, the slack would fall on me. Quick calls, slow calls, whatever it is, I wanted it to be my responsibility. That first 10-minute match, I was like kind of thinking, wow, here we go. You know, I'm going to have to start doing these overtimes. It's going to be ticky back and forth. Everybody's going to be screaming, looking for the inches and gaming the corners or whatever, you know. And we got in there. Micah kind of, you know, controlled the whole match. So I gave him choice of offense, defense. He chooses defense. Andy basically just chose the back, controls the back for a while, controlling. Micah's defending. It's a tussle, and at about 1 minute and 37 seconds into the first inning of overtime, he submits Micah with kind of a rear naked choke, jaw crush combination. And so Micah has a chance to rebuttal, but he has to get this in under 1 minute 37. Micah assesses it. He decides armbar. He chooses a spider web. He comes in. They're attacking. Andy gets a couple like slots where he looks like he's getting out. Micah tries the bicep slice. Andy defends. Gets into like a triangle kind of position from the side, spider web. And from there, he's able to extend the arm, and he also gets a tap in the first overtime. I feel like it was Micah's based on the amount of time, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I looked over, and it was Micah won. He tapped Andy by 1 minute and 4 seconds, so he won by 33 seconds. He tapped him out a little bit faster. A 10-minute match. Both guys got great looks. Both guys tapped each other out in their overtime round. It was a 30-second difference over the course of, 10 or 12 minutes, man. That was tough. That was awesome. Both guys deserved a lot of credit for their effort, and, props to both guys for showing up and throwing down hard. After that, second match, we had Justin Raymer versus Caleb Kenyon. Justin's a really tough brown belt under Sean Applegate. Really great athlete. Super good grappler, really nice guy. And Caleb, of course, is one of the guys that jumped in at the very last moment. He's a blue belt. He's from Bainbridge, Port City Jiu Jitsu. Also a really cool, really nice guy, savage, down to throw down. And so he jumped in, took the spot, a little bit outgunned. Justin gets in, gets the guillotine, and he's out of there in like 26 seconds. Not too much work. Respect for showing up and doing the work, but sometimes guys are just too much for you to handle yet. And maybe one day, you can revisit that and have a different match. But definitely on Saturday, Justin was way too much for Caleb to handle. Match 3, we're gonna go for Jared Peterson and Henry Norman. Smooth exchanges. I think Jared pulls pretty early, if memory is right. He kind of finesses him into a honey hole situation and gets a heel hook at like 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Good little battle. Nothing really like crazy, flashy, outstanding happened. Nice technical heel hook finish by Jared. Really happy to see him get the win. He's a purple belt from down in Bainbridge, also at Port City Jiu Jitsu. Henry's a purple belt from the Habero School down in Albany, Georgia. We are loosely affiliated from training partners long before, so Henry's a really nice guy. I was happy to see him jump in and just, put his chance in there to try to compete against the best guys. And he just wasn't good enough on Saturday also, and Jared gets the win in that round, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. The final match in the first round of the 170 division was actually one when the bracket fell. I was like not sure how it was gonna go because we had the Elbow Bay, Jonathan Roberts versus Kevin Howell, who's a really tough brown belt under Brian Brown in Jacksonville. He's a brown under Brown in Jacksonville. And I've seen Kevin compete. I've actually rolled with Kevin when I was down there visiting before. He's super tough. He's really hard as nails. And I've only seen Jonathan on video, but in person he's super tall, really long, also a really nice guy. And so I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to turn out because I knew Kevin was going to bring pressure and make it really tough. But honestly, like Jonathan just was able to pull in, get a couple good looks at some legs. I thought that maybe he popped Kevin's ankle a little bit. I'm not sure. I never got clarification. The first really good bite he got on him, but Kevin defended and then he relaced. Jonathan relaced, got another good bite, and got the tap. It was in 29 seconds, and it was a quick win, but that doesn't always mean that the level is really that far off. I don't think that, Kevin, I don't think he was the worst guy in the tournament by a lot. I think he could have beat a lot of the other guys in the first round, but he definitely got the toughest draw in the first round, the way that it panned out. And so props to him for showing up, coming in, and throwing down. But Jonathan was just too much on Saturday for him. That concluded the first round of the 170s. We started moving into our 200-pound bracket. It was pretty cool. We had some tough guys showing up in that one. The top match, or the first match of that bracket, was Chase Hanna versus Wade Nobilio. Chase is one of the top guys in the system at the brown belt level for sure. At the heavier weights, he's one of the better guys definitely in the system. Very technical, super technical, and deceivingly athletic when he moves. It's really cool to watch how he plays the game. And he's coached by Sean Applegate, and they have a really good synergy that they really understand each other, and you can see that play out through a lot of the matches that he's had. So I was really excited to have him sign up. When the tournament was kind of filled and we had 8 spaces, he was probably my number 1 seed pretty much the whole way through. There was a couple guys that I thought could knock him off potentially, but I thought that it was going to be Chase's tournament to lose. And Wade was the first person to sign up for the tournament in the 200-pound bracket. He's the one that asked for the 200 pounds. I was kind of just talking about it after the seminar, I guess. And that's honestly why I think I chose to do that weight, is because Wade mentioned that. He signed up. He's a blue belt, man. He's a really tough guy, really nice guy. Just getting out there, he wanted to just compete and roll. I don't think he expected this level of guys to show up either. And of course, he drew the number 1 seed right off the bat. They tied up a little bit, and Chase, realizing it wasn't the best idea to waste too much energy, probably pulls, gets in there and gets a nice heel hook in about 25 seconds or so. So respect to Wade for showing up, knowing that the odds were against him. A lot of people, when they see brackets come out and they feel like they definitely are going to lose in the first round to somebody, they just decide not to compete. or if they think they may lose at all to somebody that's in the tournament, they just decide not to show up. And I think that's whack. I think guys that are scared to lose are not people that deserve to be like wowed over if they do something. You know, it's like if you style on people that are less than you, then that's one thing, right? But if you show up to a tournament that you know you can lose and compete, you guys have heard me say this stuff a lot, then that's where you're at, man. You know, you could chase trying to get paid and stuff like that a lot, and that's one thing, but to be the best, you gotta, you know, risk it, you know. So second match of the first round was Sam Barbosa versus one of our other late fill-ins, Tim Rhodes. I've trained with Tim a lot. He's a purple belt under Cole Miller. He's a really cool guy. He's a tough roll, and he's not 200 pounds though. He shouldn't have, you know, he should have probably been in the 170 division, but we caught him literally like in the middle of the holiday season and stuff. So it's not obviously unusual to see guys that aren't really training that hard not being at their lowest weight on a drop of a hat. So he came in, weighed in, and took on Sam Barbosa, who's a stud purple belt under Brian Brown. Sam's won several competitions recently, including the PGF 225 inaugural bracket, and he's that champion. I think he's won Sapaterio recently. I've seen him win a lot of other really, really good matches. So I was excited to have him in. He was like my second or third seed coming in, so I didn't know for sure what was going to happen overall with him. But I thought for sure he was going to be able to get by Tim. But Tim came out fighting hard, hand fighting, and doing a lot of you know, good attempts at maybe trying to shoot, but Sam was a little bit too long and a little bit too, you know, ahead of the movements, and Tim couldn't really get a grip. So they tied up and hand fought and stuff, exchanged on the feet a little bit, but eventually I think it's like a shuck by or whatever when Tim tries to get a collar tie, and as soon as he shucks him by, he gets a hold of the neck and takes the back and crushes to get the win. It was like 2 minutes and a half, and moves on to the next round. Looks impressive. Looks like wow, this guy's coming out, you know, ready to get busy. Next match is Lathan Lawson versus Manning Leverett. Manning Leverett is the small man that jumped into the 200-pound bracket because he showed up with his shorts ready to roll. I had rolled with him before. He reminded me of one time down in Jacksonville, and I remembered that. He was tough. He was a fun little roll. And, you know, I just knew that by simply jumping in at this 200-pound bracket off the cuff, that he was going to be, you know, unafraid of anyone that was in there, and he was ready just to see what happened. He had nothing to lose, right? And Lathan, super tough guy. This is his first experience in any of these kind of tournaments. A good friend of mine, one of my favorite training partners that I've ever had. You know, I was excited to see him come to get out and compete. He came out really pumped and aggressive, and you know, tried to push the attitude, push the pace. He goes for like a really aggressive guillotine and lands like on his back and lets go because he's losing the guillotine, I think, a little bit. And as he turns, Manning's getting positioned. You can see on the video as you watch back though that Lathan's a lot of discomfort, and he just kind of taps out and is like grunting. And we don't know 100% if it's like a pulled muscle or a broken rib or maybe some cartilage in his ribs, but he had to tap out due to injury at about a minute in, somewhere along in there. So Manny moves on to the next round by injury. So he took the spot last second and gets basically a win to get to the next round without having to do much work. And sometimes that could be like a big bonus going, you know, if your opponent had been tired or had a hard match before, and you sort of get a walkover, even if you're not on the level, then, you know, cardio levels things out sometimes if you can push the pace in competition against a guy that's better than you maybe, but you're able to keep pushing. You can really get some breakthroughs on guys, and you'll be surprised at what you're able to do if you just aren't afraid and you go in there and you push the pace. So he did great. The last match of the first round in the 200-pound bracket matched up Zach Edwards with Richard Schonecker. Richard's a brown belt from Gustavo Machado, but he's also training with us now here at 10 Planet Perry. He's really become a great friend of mine over the last couple of months. He's the head instructor of our kids program. And Zach, he's the homie from 10th Planet. When I was out in Austin, taught my seminar down at 10th Planet Austin. Zach came in and took the seminar, and we got to jam a little bit about some of the ideas. And he showed me a few of the things that he likes off of some similar stuff. So like we had a really good relationship. And like I said, I was really like both impressed and kind of like, shaking my head at him for driving in from Austin overnight like that and then jumping out of the car to compete, because, I mean, if I did that, I don't think I would do well. Like, I don't think I would be ready to go, and I don't think I would have my best showing at all. So I don't know, how that goes. But again, just being game, you can show up and anything can happen. Richard, it's tough. He came out, we've been training together a good bit for this tournament, a lot of like specific roles with each other and talking about a lot of different things. So I thought he had a good chance in the match if he played his cards right. But when they started, both guys got in there really aggressively, and they started like exchanging leg entanglements, trying to like shoot their shot at each other. And both guys had a couple really good looks. Zach had a good bite on an outside heel hook that Richard was able to defend. And as they were like moving off the mats, they were both just like fighting back and forth for the legs. I didn't ref this match so I could kind of help try to corner Richard, which it didn't really do any good because it all happened like in a quick tussle. I didn't want to shout out anything too much. But as they were kind of going off the mat, I could see that Zach had a good bite on Richard's heel hook on an outside heel. And Richard was trying to go for one, but he didn't have a good like grip or look at the knee line. And so I was trying to tell him to get a better bite on the knee line, but he thought I was saying, I think, get a better bite on the heel. And as he was doing that, Zach pulled the foot across to the inside heel hook, and they were kind of dueling those heel hooks. And of course, everybody knows the inside heel hook's more powerful. And he popped Zach's ankle pretty tough. We don't believe there's any breaks. He went and got an X-ray. He's gonna be fine. He's definitely a little bit disappointed in how things went. He thought he was gonna do better. It's okay, it's how it goes. I'm not disappointed for him or sad or whatever. I'm just, I know that's how it goes. I hate that he got hurt, but, he was shooting a shot. He was going out there against one of the really tough guys that's out there trying to make his name. And obviously, like I said, had the balls to drive 14 hours through the night, get out of the car 45 minutes, and then just start rolling, and didn't really care about what the consequences of that were going to be. So respect to Zach. He gets the heel hook in about 56 seconds in what we kind of deemed was the submission of the day. Since both guys were shooting it out like they were, and it ended up being kind of funky, Zach ended up getting the best submission for that heel hook. It wasn't the only heel hook. It wasn't the fastest heel hook by any means, but it was probably the most dangerous one at the time it was landed, because he was also getting pretty close to getting caught maybe at the same time. So props to him for that. He got $200 for doing that, and hopefully he feels good about his effort in going out there and is not too upset for popping Richard's ankle. He was really cool. He was obviously a gentleman and a sportsman who was very apologetic, and obviously Richard understood what he was doing, so no hard feelings, anything like that. Just is what it is, Heal up, come back, be better for it. Round 2, 170s. Micah Miller versus Justin Raymer. A little technical stand-up battle and stuff. They're moving around, pushing into the wall and stuff a couple times. So I kind of warned them to stay off of the wall, work around the wall. It's not that long, but in a minute and a half or so in, Justin digs for an ankle pick, and I think Micah just kind of is hopping on one foot, but then Justin goes in and sits for a tight leg lock and like a inside heel hook or straight angle. I couldn't see how fast it was when he pulled him in. Micah just tapped to avoid any risk of any kind of injury. He's veteran enough to know that it was a good tight bite, and his way out might have led to more than he needed to do just for this tournament. So he tapped. Justin got the win at the minute 34. Man, I was so happy and thankful for Micah to come out and compete. A guy like that to show up and compete at our tournament. meant a lot to me, and I understand fully not wanting to get hurt at all and not risking like a technical, really hard battle with someone on the first competition out of the whole year. So props to that, and props to Justin though for being good enough to go out there and get it done. The second match of round 2 for the 170s was Jared Peterson versus Jonathan Roberts. Jonathan's just a couple levels ahead of Jared competitively and athletically. He gets an 8-second heel hook on Jared. Could Jared have fought out of it a little bit harder? Probably so. Should he have tried harder? Maybe so. But he was literally just out there with Richard. I was calling his name to come compete in his round as he was helping Richard try to figure out if his ankle was broken from a heel hook. So he literally ran on the mat and kind of like shook it out. And then Jonathan pulled him right into a heel hook. So he tapped pretty fast, I think, just, because he didn't even like do anything. He just kind of was like whatever on the moment. And so Jonathan, really technical, probably was going to get something like that either way, but won the match with a good heel hook in 8 seconds. That was obviously the fastest submission of the day, and really good for him. And so he moves on, going into the finals against Justin. That's going to be a barn burner. Of the guys in the tournament, these were 2 of the favorites I had. After some of the dropouts and shuffling, they were definitely 2 of the favorites I had, especially since they were on opposite sides of the bracket. So I was hyped to see how that one was going to turn out. Both of them look really good so far. Second round of the 200 bracket starts with Chase Hanna versus Sam Barbosa. I didn't know what to expect from this one. I thought Chase was going to be able to win the match, but I knew that Sam was going to make it very hard. And that's what happened. Chase controlled most of the match. He pulled guard and got to like a front headlock position, and he was working around into like a crucifix, and he tried some, headlock stuff, and he tried to get some shoulder locks and arm locks, and Sam was defending really tough, but Chase was in the driver's seat. Even if he got bumped off a couple of times, he managed to get back to that same kind of position. So I really think that he was trying to probably work some stuff specifically that he thought was going to get it done, that he was trying to get. And at a certain point, it just didn't play out in regulation, and because Sam was tough and it was defending every time that he was getting too close to anything. So we go to overtime in this one. It was a good match, and I was really watching it close. Chase gets the choice. He chooses to take the back. He takes Sam's back. Sam escapes about 14 seconds. He's a stud. He knows how to play this moment really well, and he spins out and is out. Sam takes Chase's back and just goes for it. He knows this is his chance, right? He's been losing basically the entire regulation. So he goes for it, gives it all he's got. He gets the finish by face crush, rear naked choke in 18 seconds. I say, an upset overall, but considering how the first of the match went, it's disappointing to not win that, and it's exciting for Sam to win it. But both of those guys, I look forward to seeing them compete against each other again in the future. I think that's a great matchup, and it won't play out exactly the same again, I don't think. So Sam wins by submission again, this time by rear naked choke, but this one's in overtime. So we got Sam going into the finals. Who's his opponent going to be? Zach Edwards, Manning Leverett. Zach, the guy who drove 14 hours from Austin, Texas, or Manning, the 168-pound purple belt that jumped into the 200-pound bracket literally when he walked in the door yesterday. So, I don't know. Well, Zach comes out, pushes the pace. He's just ready to hunt. He's trying to eat. And he gets the leg with a lateral knee bar in 29 seconds. Just great performance by him. Manning just outgunned. He wasn't ready for that, look from Zach. And like I said, Zach was pushing and hunting. So respect to him. He'll be back into some tournaments, and you'll definitely hear from him again. I think a guy like that with that kind of attitude is definitely going to get to a place where he'll be in tournaments, and you'll hear about him again. But so we get Zach versus Sam in the final. That's not one of the matches I didn't see coming in the final. I thought it could have been Chase versus Zach or Sam versus Zach more than likely. But again, I wasn't sure if Richard was going to be able to sneak past Zach. Once I found out that Zach was driving through the night to get here, that really made me give Richard a bigger chance in that matchup. And no disrespect to him, he just doesn't have the reps that Zach does at those high levels in those competitions. So Zach easily, on that alone was one of the top seeds coming in. And so he got it done. He gets to the final versus Sam Barbosa, and this is going to be a killer matchup, man. I just know for sure these guys are going to bring it because they both have been bringing it pretty hard all day. The finals of the 170 is Justin Raymond versus Jonathan Roberts. I think Justin expected a little bit more on the feet, but Jonathan pulls pretty quick. Justin kind of paused a little bit when he sat, but then he starts to pass and get on top. He can't really establish a good control, but he's working, he's doing good work. He's not just sitting back and waiting or anything like that. He's trying to push. He's trying to do what Sean's telling him to do, but Jonathan's just keeping good, inside space control and framing them out and re-guarding and not letting them establish a good position. And somewhere in the way, he gets into a smooth outside heel hook and snags it and gets to finish at 1:47. That makes Jonathan Roberts the champion. He won every match that he had by regulation, by heel hook. He gets $800 for winning the tournament. He gets $50 for each submission in regulation, so that's another $150. Jonathan Roberts takes home $950 Saturday, coming down here to Perry to roll, and he did the work in 2 minutes and 24 seconds of mat time. So I don't know what that equates to per hour, and obviously with his travel and everything like that, but still, the man came down, spent 2.5 minutes on the mats, got paid $950. To me, that is exciting to be able to do that and be able to be in a situation where we can provide even just a venue for guys to come and compete and make some money and be professionals. I remember coming up and having to always pay to compete and looking for opportunities and never making money competing, barely making money as a professional fighter. Some of these guys were making an opportunity to make as much as a lot of professional fighters make just grappling on this, in this one event this weekend. So I don't know, man. The sky's the limit. We're gonna keep pushing, and guys like Jonathan and Justin coming down and being in the tournament, they're pushing us forward and gonna keep the level high. And so that was awesome. Thanks to both those guys for coming out and representing, and congratulations to Jonathan for being the 170 champion. And he's really a nice guy too. 200 pounds bracket, Sam Barbosa, Zach Edwards. Two really good guys. Sam definitely looks to be bigger as far as, musculature and stuff, but they're both pretty tall and rangy. So in my mind, I'm wondering how that's going to cancel out each other, because that definitely matters to me at least, when I'm grappling someone that's taller but maybe my same weight. It definitely is harder sometimes than someone who's shorter and closer to my size. So I wonder how it is when long boys fight long boys, basically. And they went at it and they tussled, and Zach came out again just hunting. He was throwing things at him. He blasted Sam one time with a knee to the nose, trying to get a pretty aggressive knee cut because he didn't think Sam was sitting up. Sam ate it and took a couple, not too long, but a minute or so to recover a little bit and shake it loose. He probably caught a concussion on that one, man. But he was game and kept coming. And we obviously knew that he was tough and he was going to be hard to get out of there. And Zach was just hunting, man, just hunting. He kept attacking. He got really close, and then honestly, I think he just kind of hit the wall on his conditioning a little bit. late into that match. We were doing 10-minute rounds, and Sam had already done one whole 10-minute match, so he was tired before this started. And so he played a little bit more defense the whole time, probably than he would have fresh. If he hadn't gotten dragged out so far, he may have been more of an attacker against Zach, but he didn't really have as much left in the tank. But he did have enough to be tough and resilient and defend. And eventually he wore Zach down a little bit, and they kind of just coasted a little bit. Not really coasted, but like went into the overtime. So in the overtime, Zach defers to Sam. Zach says he wants to let Sam choose. I knew that Sam was going to choose the back because he's been killing from there. He takes the back. He gets to finish in 26 seconds. So Zach has the rebuttal chance, 26 seconds. He doesn't really get a good chance. He gets the back. Sam spins out and escapes in 6 seconds. And he takes the win. Congratulations, Sam. He took two guys to overtime, getting outgunned a little bit both times in regulation. He pulled it out with submissions both times in overtime. He won his first match, against Tim Rose by submission, getting to the back and getting the neck. So obviously he's got skills getting there, and once he gets there, you got to know that he's going for the finish, and he has the ability to get it. I didn't know that he was going to beat Zach, like I said, because he was so tired going into that 10-minute match. I think, like I said, Zach hit the wall. Everything caught up to him too late into that match. But it don't matter. Sam took it there. He did the hard work. He was tired, whatever the case was. He dug deep. He proved that his gameness and his willingness to show up and be in there and to take on everybody, that he could beat them. He may not be the best in regulation. He may not have dominated regulation, but when it came down in time to win, he dug deep, he did what it takes, and he won. He got his $850 because he won his bracket, plus $50 for his one submission in regulation. We had some sponsors that were helping us out, Ingleside Barbershop in Macon, and I think it's Parkway Used Cars in Warner Robins. Sorry, guys. But we're just kind of test run stuff with them a little bit. They threw in some money for submissions, bonus of the day. They threw in a little bit of cash, hoping to get a twister landed, but we didn't land a twister. No one got a twister, so that bonus wasn't able to be paid out the way that it was. And then Pete McGregor, he threw in the multiplier for the submissions in regulation for one of the brackets for the 50-50-50, and then we basically put up the $50, I think, on the other 50-50-50, which only ended up being $50 that we gave out to Sam Barbosa out of our personal, I guess, gym money or whatever it is. So after that, the money for submission of the day, like I said, we gave that to Zach Edwards, $200, and then the twister money I ended up giving to Zach as well. I'm sorry, the bonus for the submissions and regulations that we didn't pay out, I ended up giving that to Zach as well because I think it was well earned. He hunted and got two quick submissions, or two really good submissions in his round. I don't know, I didn't have to do it, but the man traveled that far by car. He brought Jacob Norton with him, so I'm sure he took care of him and his gas or whatever, and food and things like that, and so I wanted to reward him for being a hunter and for showing up, really in the spirit of what I was thinking overall for what I wanted the tournament to be and for people to see. Like, he came out and was just aggressively looking for the kill. He traveled from far away with just, one goal, and that was to win. Unfortunately, he didn't win the whole thing, but he got a little bit of something for his troubles, and some cool pictures and some highlights, hopefully, that he can keep and use to grow further down the line. We'll definitely hope to have him back when we do like 185s. So we ended up giving out like $2,200 yesterday total to the winners and stuff. So that's great. I was really excited. We had like a sustained 100 viewers on the stream at each time, like over 1,000 unique views, for something that was kind of put together on a whim. I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of room for growth. I want to thank Isaac Stackhouse and Becca Stackhouse for helping set it up with the camera stuff. Nate Cason, he helped with some camera stuff. Mandy obviously helped with a lot of stuff. Once we were in here, she kept it, helped keep the overtime time. My boy Zach Barnett ran the clocks for us and stuff, so thanks to him for helping out with that. Brandon Veal for helping out with some equipment that really made the stream work well and smooth. That's how we had some of those back and forth camera angles where the action wasn't ever really like on, or the view wasn't really not on the action in a good way. So thank you to him for that stuff. And of course, thank you to all the competitors that showed up and the coaches that came, because without them, obviously it's not possible. We need guys that are going to show up, or girls and two that are going to show up and compete and throw down. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're coming out and you're battling, you're throwing down. That's how you earn your rep. You're going to win and you're going to lose. If all you're doing is going out and seeking easy wins, or if all you're doing is like chasing those tournaments down that have the easier victory, then that's cool. But going out here and trying to slay dragons, that's what's up. That's how you're gonna get. That's how you're gonna get to be the man or the woman, is by going out there and trying to slay giants. And sometimes you fail greatly doing that. And on your path to greatness, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get embarrassed. It's okay. It's fine. Be resilient. Bounce back. Work hard. And just keep coming, man. Let's have fun. Let's get hyped up. Let's give some money away to people. Let's pay some bills. I don't know. What weight classes do y'all want to see next? Do you want to see women 120, 125, men 185? Do we need to do some little guys 125, 145? What, 155? I need to hear from you guys. Leave me some stuff in the comments down here. Send me messages on social media at the Dream 10P on Instagram. 10th Planet Perry. We're on YouTube now. Come through, like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. That's going to allow us to do live streams more easily. We're going to start coming out with lots of new content, classes, everything's going to start going on now. That's a lot of what we're doing with this first video podcast. I'm just trying to see what's going to happen with that. So thank you guys for the continued support. Thank you guys for the love. You guys really help motivate me and push me to keep trying to grow and be better for myself. Thank you. I want to do the most that I can to provide the best content I can. Much love. Peace.